Imagine a life where you're not constantly battling self-criticism and doubt. How freeing would it be to become friends with that voice that holds you back? Hi, I'm Georgia and I'm here to help you break free from self-limiting beliefs and step into a life of freedom, clarity, and fulfillment. Don't fire your inner critic, take your inner critic on a vacation with you. And why I'm saying that is because the inner critic is part of ourselves that only wants love, that only wants to be integrated. The inner critic is also our ego or our inner child, some shadow parts of ourselves that we decided to hide from society, but then that voice keeps showing up in moments that don't actually serve us. And until we look at it with curiosity and with compassion, it will continue to actually do more harm than good. And today we are going to cover 3 reasons why this video is a sign for you to take action, and also 3 ways you can improve your relationship with your inner critic. What the inner critic does if it's going out of control: 1, it distorts our self-perception. Life is so hard if we have a constant voice that is criticizing, making a bigger deal of our mistakes than it actually is. Our inner critic is our harshest critic. I used to constantly have this voice in my head, and it came from perfectionism. And at work, if I did a tiny little mistake, then I would overthink it and it would blow out of proportion. My inner critic was actually lying. And I woke up to reality a few years back when they ran a survey at my work and they asked all colleagues to rate all managers on different criteria, and I had the highest score. I'm not saying this to brag. This was a wake-up call for me. My self-image was totally the opposite, and when I was able to see this reflection, I woke up to reality. Check out if your inner critic is doing the same for you. The second negative part of our inner critic is that it prevents our growth. It's very difficult to step out of the comfort zone, learn, make mistakes, if we have this constant voice that says we are not good enough, that what we do is not good. It prevents us from growing, both professionally and personally. I can give you an example from my life. Starting this YouTube channel more than a year ago, I was one step almost sure that I'm not gonna be able to start my YouTube channel. My inner critic was saying, especially for the first videos, that this is so lame, I'm not good enough. I prepared for several months, and when I actually put my makeup on, put the ring light, and actually started to record my first video, I started crying because all these voices, my inner critic was pumped up and was saying how bad, how stupid everything is. Of course, it was not true, and I would have been in a completely different phase in my life if I didn't take this jump and step out of my comfort zone. And I can give you another example from the founder of the Art of Accomplishment, Joe Hudson. I attended a webinar with him, and he was saying a story about his hairdresser, how his passion was actually art, but he didn't believe that he could live out of his art, so that's why he became a hairdresser. Joe, the founder of the Art of Accomplishment, told his hairdresser that if he would get back to him with 100 rejections, then Joe would pay him $1,000. And guess what happens? Now he's actually living out of his art, and he's only cutting the hair of Joe. So it became reality. Try to reframe. Every failure is actually a lesson, and try to chase rejections. As weird as it is, look at it with curiosity, like a child. What can go wrong? Not much. We are not going to die. We are just going to learn. The third negative side of our inner critic is that it can damage our mental health. I have been struggling with anxiety, waking up in the middle of the night. can also lead to depression, so be mindful of that. There is something you can do about it right now. The first thing you can do about your inner critic is to treat it with compassion. Self-compassion is so much more important than self-love. I believe it's a necessary step, because if we have this overly active inner critic, we cannot jump directly to self-love. We first start with self-compassion. And if it is difficult, try to put a picture with you as a child. Ask yourself, would I think the same way about this child? I will put a picture of me when I was little. My nickname was Dodo because I couldn't say Georgia when I was little, and when someone would ask me what's my name, I would say Dodo. This helped me a lot in improving the way that I speak to myself. I'm no longer my harshest critic, I am my best friend. The second way to improve your relationship with your inner critic is to challenge negative thoughts. I invite you to ask 4 questions. I gave a presentation at work and I didn't stick in the time frame allocated for that. The first question to ask myself, if I am feeling bad, if I have this inner critic judging me, is this true? Yes, I made a fool of myself. The second question, is this really true? When you ask yourself the second time, then you really start to question, maybe. The third question, would I think the same way about someone else, about a friend? Probably not. So why would I think the same way about me? And the fourth question, where would I be if I didn't have this belief, this inner critic? The third way you can improve your relationship with your inner critic is to cultivate a growth mindset. As I said in that story with the hairdresser, try to collect rejections, collect lessons, because there are no failures, and it's the only way to grow. And you will see, as time goes by, if you embrace your inner critic, it will completely change your life. There is one more thing I would like to add here. The inner critic is usually considered negative, but it's actually part of us, and until we listen to it, we try to understand it. You can also journal and ask, why am I thinking this? Try to trace back to an event from your past when you felt the same way. Embrace it, feel the actual feeling. You are recreating that in your daily life, because that part of you only wants to be integrated and accepted. That was it for today. Thank you so much for watching, for liking this video, for subscribing. Before I go, I want to leave you with a quote. Your inner critic is simply a part of you that needs more self-love. Let me know in the comments down below, what is your experience with your inner critic? Do you have any other tips on how to improve our relationship with this voice that can hold us down? Let me know below, and let's learn and help each other out. Have a wonderful day, and I can't wait to see you next time.